So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I wanted to talk to you about something today, something that I learned a long time ago, and it's something that if you can put it into practice, it can definitely benefit you in the outcomes of everything that happens in your life. Now, is it a ridiculous idea to believe that all of the negativity around you can be eliminated by just simply adding more positive things? Is it impossible to understand that, you know, the more positive things that you have going on in your life, that you can actually create a more positive life? I mean, I don't understand how you can think negative and live a positive life. And I'm sure, we'll all agree on these things. Yet the mind the mind is always focused on a lot of the negative things. And it's unfortunate, right? Napoleon Hill once said something, and I definitely agree with this notion, is that the mind attracts that which the mind dwells upon. And as we dwell upon different things that are negative in our life, we use these things to create a negative energy called worry. This negative energy that's called worry tends to create negative faith. And all of our actions and everything that is around us through fear and through worry tend to drag us down into the negative. So, what's a way that we can go from dwelling upon the negative and focusing on all of the negative things that are surround us, instead of just putting the focus on the many positive things that are around us that we tend to take for granted? Well, one thing I learned is writing down 10 positive things. So, we talk about it. So think back to your day before the day that you're listening to this. And I want you to think of, and if it's nighttime when you're listening to this, I want you to think of the things that happened earlier in the day. And I want you to think of 10 positive things that happened to you. Now, they could be simple things or they can be great things. You could have been walking down the street and you could have found money. Or just the simple fact that you woke up in the morning is enough to say something positive. There are many people throughout this entire nation that did not wake up this morning, throughout this entire world. Then I want to sit back and think about the fact that I can see, if you can see, the fact that I can walk, if you can walk. Because understand that there are many people that are out here that can't. Understand that there are people out here that are without a job and would like to work, but can't. But so many people take their job for granted or curse their job or curse their employment or their employer. Yet there are people out here without a job that need a job and that would work diligently at a job if they had one. Do they not deserve one? Should you not appreciate your job? Isn't that a positive? I'll tell you what, another positive that kind of throws a lot of people off when I talk about it. It is a positive that you can pay your bills. Now, people think, well, how is paying bills a positive thing? Well, it was a time in my life where I was struggling so hard that I couldn't pay my bills, and then more worry and then more negativity compounded within itself. And these are the things that I dwelt upon, you know, worrying about not paying it instead of looking for a solution to pay it. And so, you know, all of these things become compounded. And the only way that you can eliminate it is by adding certain negative things. So the fact that you can pay your bills, well, I don't pay my bills and I don't just go, oh, I got to pay my bills. We all seen this example. A lot of us have seen this example in our parents when they talk about paying bills. But we can't think of our parents paying bills and being happy while they did it. Otherwise, we might have a different approach to it or a different point of view. Yes, me personally, I am happy that I can pay my bills. I am happy that God has blessed me with more than enough money to pay all of my bills and meet all of my needs. And you should be too if you can do so. Some of these things people take for granted. They think that things are going to be all rosy for the rest of their life. There are many different things that we can look at in our lives that are positive, things that we take for granted and things that we don't take for granted. Things like children, where, some people complain that their children are acting up or their children are not listening to them. But how much joy are you taking into the fact or the simple fact that you have children? There's so many people that have talents, whether it be a musical talent or anything in the arts. the gift to make people laugh, which is truly a gift, the gift to entertain people. These are things that are talents that you should be thankful for, and you should actually be putting to use if you have them. And if you have a talent that you're actually putting to use, that is not going to waste, at that point in time, yeah, you should look at that as a positive. That is even more of a positive than actually having the talent itself. And so, with all of these positive things that I have in my life, all of these positive things that I am doing with my life, I'm writing these things down. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to find 10 positive things that happened to you that particular day. All right. Now, there's something that happens before I even get into it. There's something that happens in the morning and at night, in the afternoon and the evening. It's full of negativity. I call it the news media. Don't watch it. Now, I know some of you are news junkies. Some of you can't go on a day without watching the news. I knew people who would get the newspaper years ago strictly to read the obituaries so they could see the people who died. Not for entertainment purposes, but more so concerned that if it's somebody that they know that might have passed away that they didn't get word of. See, I don't understand the need for watching the news. You see, the news gets its information from you, not the other way around. The news gets its information from you, and then it regurgitates it back to you, but in a negative fashion, tailored to the way that it can keep your views, keep your viewership. A lot of it is falsehoods. If you want to know the news, get in tune and get aligned with the people in your neighborhood. Talk with the youth in your neighborhood. Talk with the older people in your neighborhood. Like, know what's actually going on. This is the news, not what they put on the television screen. What they put on the television screen will tell you lies about your own people. So don't fall for it. They tell you lies about black people. They tell you lies about police officers. They tell you lies about white people. They tell you lies about women. They tell you lies about men. They tell you lies about the government and the things that are going on there, as if anybody knows what's really going on in the government. So that's one negative you can eliminate out of your life. Now, when you eliminate a negative out of your life, that's a great thing, but you got to replace it with a positive. And with these 10 things, these are the positive things we're going to replace it with. So the first thing you want to do, you want to write down 10 positive things. You want to read these positive things prior to going to sleep. This way, it's a lot better than watching the news and a lot more positive information as opposed to watching the news prior to going to sleep. I do believe the things that you do prior to sleep, soon as you wake up and during your sleep process, are really impactful to the course of your life and the things that go on in your life. Just an example real quick. It was kind of funny. I was in a war and all of a sudden, we was trying to save this guy and things was a bit crazy. Now, anybody that's actually been in the military might find this information that I'm giving strange. Well, it's strange because it's not quite accurate. The fact of the matter is I fell asleep during the movie Saving Private Ryan. I fell asleep during the movie Saving Private Ryan and thought that I was in the midst of the battle. And I woke up just shell shock. It's crazy. But the things that we do prior to going to sleep, during our sleep, and when we wake up are really impactful to the way that we live and the way that we act throughout our day, throughout the course of our lives. So what am I absorbing? What type of information am I absorbing? So I want to absorb positive things. But the thing is, I want to absorb positive things about myself. The fact that I have children, the fact that I have a job, the fact that I have more than enough money to pay all of my bills and meet all of my needs. And if I don't, the fact that I'm giving thanks that God is working me out of it. The fact that, or the truth of the matter, the truth that, I am a good person, the truth that I can walk, that I can see, that I don't have a problem eating. And if these things are issues, you need to dig a little deeper to find the positive things that you do have, as simple as they may sound, because the mind attracts that which the mind dwells upon. So if I'm consistently dwelling upon the negative things, that's only going to continue to multiply. I told you this happened to me. So write these 10 things down and read it prior to going to sleep at night. If you're a religious person, I would recommend something that's good to sleep to is if you play as you go to sleep the book of Psalms. The reason why I recommend it is because it is really good and comforting. Even if you're not a religious person, you can play it, and I can guarantee you it'll definitely be comforting as you wake up the next day. Maybe not the first couple of days, but it will work. When you wake up in the morning, what I want you to do is the first thing you do is take that piece of paper from the night before that you wrote down all of the positive things that happened to you, just 10 positive things, and then I want you to read them aloud. Now, in the beginning of doing this, it's going to be difficult to find positive things that don't sound redundant or don't sound corny. You're going to look for something that's really impactful. But don't worry. If it's positive, write it down. If it isn't, don't write it down, right? Write down these positive things. Do this consistently. For 66 days, I heard somewhere that if you do things for 66 days straight, it'll create a habit. We want to create good habits. We want to replace bad habits, watching the news nighttime, watching the news in the morning time, with good habits. Writing down positive things at nighttime, reading out loud positive things in the morning. And when you read these things out loud, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror. One of the hardest things to do when you write something down as simple as, I am able to see, I am strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, I am blessed with children, I am blessed with a job. Write these things in this fashion. If you're an alcoholic, and we talk about it, if you're an alcoholic and your goal is to free yourself from alcoholism or drunkenness, then write down, I am, and if you actually take the step of going into a program that's going to help you get out of that, whether it be a drug program or alcohol program, I am freeing myself from alcoholism. Like, that's a positive. These are things you want to write down at night, but these are also things you want to read out loud in the morning. You want to look at yourself in the mirror when you do it. You want to look at yourself in the eyes in the mirror when you do it. It's a bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but what you're looking at is your soul. You're looking at yourself. Doing these things consistently will definitely help you over time create a positive life and a positive atmosphere. You'll start to notice in the beginning also that a lot of people will come to you with a lot of negative information. And, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? You're going to sit up there and you're going to want to hear all of this gossip. You're going to want to hear about all this, what happened with this person, what happened with that person, who's sleeping with this person, and who's sleeping with that person. Like, you're going to want to know all of these things. But eventually, as you continue to install, because you got to, your mind is a computer. As you continue to get rid of all of the negative viruses in your mind, and you start installing and downloading all of the positive things into your mind, you're not even going to want to hear about the negative gossip, because you're going to realize it's affecting that download, it's affecting that positive download, and ultimately affecting a positive life for yourself. You're not going to be counting other people's pockets. You're not going to be worried about what this person is doing or what that person is doing. You're going to be a man, or you're going to be a woman, or you're going to be, or that's all there is. You're going to be a man, or you're going to be a woman. You're going to handle your business. You're going to provide for your own. Just that simple. And, when you create this habit, when you've done this for 66 days straight, and you look up and then you all of a sudden can't do it, all of a sudden you're going to start to notice positive things that you didn't notice before. You start looking up and go, oh, well, this is nice. Oh, I had a great day at work. My boss wasn't on me today. Or you might have a work process that's really long and drawn out, but all of a sudden that day everything seemed to zoom by fast. That's a positive for you. Then write it down. Write these things down. Go over it and keep this into practice. But not only that, don't let this stop with you. Like, if you're young and you have children, or if you're older and you have children and you know that these people maybe at some point in time in their life are going to be struggling, you're the parent. Instruct them to do these things. Even if you got children that are adults, like, instruct them to do these things. This is what you're going to be doing. I need you to write down, look, little Timmy, I need you to write down 10 positive things that happened to you. 10. And it might be hard for them at first. It might be hard for them to find positive things that happen. And you need to be the one reviewing it. And then with their own eyes, they got to witness you doing this as well. say we're going to do it together, or you can say that or not. That's fine. But they have to see you doing it. It's not about telling them I'm going to do it too, and then they don't see you do it. They have to physically see you doing this process. Because with the children, I don't know why nobody's really spoke too much about this, but children mimic the things that they see. People speak about it, not too much. Children mimic the things that they see. It's not like you can't say, well, smoke a cigarette in front of your child and say, all right, well, do as I say, not as I do. Don't ever do this. Like, no, they're going to do it. That's the model that they have. So you got to be the perfect model. You got to show them the perfect model. You got to make them look at you and like, man, how do I get that good? And so with this writing down 10 positive things, I got to create a habit out of that. So all of these things I want to do. And if I do all of these things and I complete all of these things, then I will definitely notice more positive things coming into my life. And then you'll all of a sudden attract positivity. People talk about the law of attraction, but this is how you attract certain things. But don't attract negativity in your life. Attract positivity. Don't attract negativity in your life. Attract positive things into your life. And as you attract all of these positive things, you're going to sit back, you're going to look at it, and you're going to do nothing but notice these things as being positive. If you have any other questions, concerns, funny stories, anything that you'd like to add, feel free to add them. If you like what I say, then make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you dislike what I say, make sure you write dislike in the comments. Feel free to timestamp it. And if there's anything you want to add, you can still add something there. And may everyone have a good morning, a good afternoon,